guys, welcome to AuddyHotties.
Welcome.
We are taking a first listener request today. I don't know if they still are listeners, but this is from the random person that we met in a bar who overheard us talking about having a podcast. And they said we should make one on how do we make friends. So today we're going to be talking about, well, today and next week, we're going to be talking about how do we make friends, and then a second part on what do we kind of do to work on making friends if we want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, here we go.
Hotties.
Yeah, welcome to the AuddyHottie podcast.
Here we are.
All right, guys, welcome back to AuddyHotties. I'm Bree,
I'm McKenna.
and we're your hosts.
We sure are.
We sure
It's
are.
been such a long time since
Yeah.
we've gotten together and recorded.
Yeah, so for the summer, we pre-recorded like 5 or 6 episodes.
Mhm.
But normally we only do like 2 or 3 at a
Mhm.
time. So it's been like a month and a half since we recorded last.
Yep. Which
And we both did a lot of things in between.
so many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you want to like quick update on?
It'll never be a quick up.
Never.
Like a summer recap.
Yeah.
Okay. Best summer I've ever had. I
Love. Well, you
I-
beat Italy.
I know. Okay, so I got to go to the Dolomites with my baby sister, and it was like, you know how you think that you're gonna have a good time, and you're like, oh, but like I shouldn't have any expectations, whatever. Okay, so anything I thought was gonna happen, like everything exceeded it. It was just so
Mhm.
much fun and adventurous and hilariously ADHD. Like just a lot of misadventures too, but like coming together at the end of it and like being friends at the end of the day. And it was just beautiful. And dun, 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 we all know how I have a shoe collection of, my hobbies that I've had. So I got a new pair of shoes.
Uh-huh.
I got a pair of hiking boots. So I'm going to try and hike.
Yeah, and McKenna's already hyperfixated on what hikes they want to do because we already have
Yeah.
at least 2 on the list that I know of.
I know. It's like so embarrassing and also not because I'm like, I know that it's a hyperfixation. I know that I'm like super into it right now and I might not be in a few months, but I'm also like, I really think this is gonna be like a lifelong thing. Like I'm really excited to like see the world this way. And also since we live in the Pacific Northwest, there's just like endless trails and
Mhm.
types of trails that you can do. And I think one of the things that I love most about it that I've been probably just scared to do is that I've always looked at it as like a form of exercise and like a form of like getting to the top of the mountain or getting to like the end of the hike and kind of like focusing on it being like this physical thing where like you can take it slow. You can go like step by step. You can take a break. You can look at the flowers or the moss or whatever. And I just feel like that type of hiking is way more what I'm into. And like people do it all over the world. So anyway, and like I know that you hiked the Appalachian Trail, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. But probably not.
So my biggest summer thing was my family came to visit my mom and my
Yeah.
brother, and my brother's never got to come visit me anywhere, which is super cool that he finally got to come see me. But we went and hiked a 3-day backpack trip,
Yes.
partially on the PCT. Saw a bunch of PCT through hikers,
Yeah.
like got to spend 2 nights out there, did like 37 total miles. Which my mom is incredible that she can do that in her 60s.
I think all 3 of you are incredible at being able to do that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was super awesome.
Yeah.
And it definitely did like reignite a little bit of that like passion from through hiking before. Not that I remind myself of the realities of it, and then I'm like, maybe not, but but it did make me want to get out more and do it some more.
Yeah.
But the funny part of that is you bring up like, oh, maybe someday. My little brother went through like the same thing. He was
Really?
like, my mom was like, would you ever do like a through hike or a long hike? And he was like, maybe. And now he's like, we were like talking about it as we finish our hike.
Maybe one day. You can always dream.
It's the bug. The bug got us.
Well, that hike was wild. The tunnel falls were because you were showing me pictures of like
Hmm.
your trail and it was just like sheer
Yeah.
cliff.
I didn't expect that. There were sections that were only like 2 feet wide and they had like a metal railing along one side and a cliff on the other. And I'm pretty scared of heights.
Okay, what is, I am so curious, what does the fear of heights feel like to you? Like when you are
Uh,
around heights, what sensation do you
mhm.
feel in your body?
That's a
Because
good question.
the only reason why I'm asking you this is because I heard about someone's experience on TikTok and I was like, that's my experience. That's why it's so scary.
Mm. I think the biggest problem for me is my overactive imagination.
Okay.
Because like it's almost like the picture of me tripping and falling off
Oh
or seeing
my
someone
God.
else like trip and fall off is like
Yes.
forefront in my eyes.
Yeah.
And I like have to like shut that out
Yeah.
to be like, just take the steps in front of you. You've never fallen off of anything. Like,
Right.
but it just like pops up over and over again of like, you're gonna trip and fall, you're gonna trip and fall.
Ooh,
Like,
yeah, like it's
and
the
then
rumination of just like the
mhm,
thought.
the image, like I can see it so clearly of just like one little misstep and then yeah. And then also that I have a little bit of vertigo too. So then it's like if I do like see the distance, sometimes that like messes with the distance of the ground and that
Yeah.
gets really
And
freaky.
then you're like, I'm gonna fall. It's
Yeah.
gonna
And
happen.
on the AT, I had like 3 panic attacks from heights. Mostly they were because the wind was also blowing. And so it was
Right.
like narrow ledge, high heights, huge backpack, wind blowing, like pushing you over. Like, and I had like three panic attacks on that one where I was like crawling on the ground to get to the top and then
Valid.
needed to like decompress for like 30 minutes afterwards.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
So adventurous, but yeah,
Yeah. So this hike had a
wild.
little bit of steep edge. Luckily, it didn't last for very long. Like there were
Yeah,
short stretches of that.
sure.
But there's definitely one section where I got to the end and I was like, sorry guys, I just like left you back there because I was like, I just got to get through this.
Bye.
Yeah,
Just
bye.
like
And my mom was like, I
tunneling
figured that's
through.
what you were doing. Uh,
Get it over, get it done with.
yeah.
Well, someone said that they actually feel the sensation of falling
Mm.
when they are around heights, and that's exactly what I feel. Like,
Oh,
you
maybe. I
know,
like the stomach dropping.
yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly it. Like when
Mm.
you're on a roller coaster and you're going down and you feel your stomach kind of like come up or
Mm.
fall. I don't know what like the lingo is, but
What's actually happening?
the feeling.
Mm.
That's what I feel in heights.
Uh,
So, have you ever done like gondolas before or have
mhm.
been like on ski lifts? So there's a ton of that in the Dolomites. That's one of the main reasons why it's such a sought out place is because there's so much access to the peaks.
Mm.
So like you don't have to hike the mountains, you can just take a gondola to the top. So one of the first things that we did was take a coffin gondola to the top,
You showed
which
me the picture of this, which
did
we'll
I?
post. Yeah.
So it's like maybe 2 feet this way, 2 feet this way, 2 feet that way, and then maybe like 8 feet tall. And I think people take it up for skiing or something. That's like feels like the shape of it. But it's literally like this going
And
up
you're
the
standing in
mountain.
it.
You're
Yeah.
standing the 15-minute ride. Crazy.
Wild.
But yeah, I had that falling feeling for a lot of that. A
Mhm.
lot of that. So anyway, I don't
Yeah.
think I'll be doing tunnel falls. I think there's other hikes that I'd love to do with you.
Yeah. I think one of the things though about hiking that suits ADHD people so well is like not just getting outside and enjoying the
Yes.
outdoors and that kind of thing, but like the seasonality of it because
Yes.
you can hike in the winter, but it's like a
Yes.
cyclical thing. So
Hmm.
you're less likely to burn out on it because you're like go 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 in the summer and then it's like off period and then
True.
you're like oh the weather's nice again go 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 like
Yeah.
um
Well, oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was changing topics, so you can go ahead.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Um, well, what I think of is my pots and how hard that is in the summertime. So I'm
Mm.
actually really excited for the winter season because I
Okay.
feel like I'm just gonna like book it, get a really good raincoat, and just like mud all the things. It's gonna be so much fun. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then hopefully by next summer we'll be ready to do some like bigger hikes and that'll be, more enjoyable.
Yeah.
But even like the fall foliage or the spring flowers, like I remember even doing that early in March this year of like
Hmm.
getting out to the gorge a few times to see the flowers and like it's just so fun.
Yeah.
So I think that you're right. The novelty of it is really like this is gonna be fun.
The other thing that I really like and that I found on the through hike that I did was for me, it's kind of like parallel play where you're like walking together, but you don't have to be making eye contact. You don't have to look at each other. You can just
Yeah.
talk like back and forth.
Yeah.
And then like quiet periods are okay too because you're
Yeah.
going for so long and like
Yeah.
yeah.
Such a good point. Yeah, like it's kind of social, but also doesn't have to be social,
Mhm.
and also highly regulating
Yeah.
because of the nature aspect. I mean, and I think the somatics of it too, of walking.
Consistent pacing
Mhm.
and yeah.
Yeah, so really into it. We'll see how long the hyperfixation lasts, but again, I really think that it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Awesome. Love.
I know. We'll do some AuddyHottie hikes.
Yeah. So a very short summary of what our summers were because I'm sure there was like 800 other activities that we did.
Pretty
But
much. Yeah.
yeah.
How was your summer?
Oh, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot done. I made a poster board this year.
Yeah, that's right.
My
Yeah.
poster board of each month because last summer went by so fast that I felt like I didn't
Yes.
like make use of the weekends very well.
Right.
So this year I made like the date and the weekend and like made sure that each weekend had something planned
Yeah.
on it. And a couple that we took for rest, but
Much needed.
yeah, that worked really well. But the summer still went by really fast.
It
So,
went by too fast. It
yeah,
always does.
yeah, sad.
It is sad.
But yeah, should we talk about some friendship?
Let's talk friendship.
So we've talked about before that you have an easier time with the process of friendship than relationships, and I'm vice versa.
Hmm.
So we'll definitely talk intermittently about what steps like you feel like you can take that are more efficient than whatever I'm doing. But I want to start with the classic, like, where do we make friends?
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you make friends?
Where do you make friends?
Well, it's so funny because as an adult, I feel like it's so hard to make friends.
Yeah.
Like people do not give that enough credit of making
And that's
friends
true
in
for
your
neurotypical people too. Like
Mhm.
that's just
Yeah.
hard. You don't have the automatic wherever you are, like school, where you get put in groups and you have people
Mhm.
there every day. And
Yeah. No, it's really hard to make friends. Where do we make friends?
I will say I have had the most success lately with things that are like special interests as a group. And that's been one of the joys of being here in Portland is because there are groups for everything.
Yeah.
Whereas like, I mean, Oklahoma has groups, but in a lot of places there's like not that many niche things to go and do.
Sure.
Whereas here you can find like anything.
It's so true, like on Meetup and
hmm
yeah.
Yeah, so like um I've made the most connections through like board game meetups,
Mhm.
or I did do a friend speed dating event. I don't have
That's
any like
great.
lasting connections from that, but I feel like I could have like if I'd had the right connection with somebody.
Mhm.
And then I started doing volleyball this year.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah, I was
that's
gonna
been
say sports is huge.
sports is huge. And I also go to a line dancing group, the one that we go to
Yeah.
frequently, Stomp Town.
Wait, did you do it?
I haven't recently, but it was really funny last night. Last night I went to the sports bra to watch
Fun.
the women's roller derby event.
Hmm.
It was the Portland Thorns versus the arch rivals. It's like one of the bigger like national teams against each other versus local. So we went
Cool.
to watch that. Anyways, we were sitting next to another couple there and we were watching the same game. So we were like started a conversation with them. And one of the girls was like, "Oh, I play on this team. Like, this is our next date that we're playing." And I was like, "Oh, I was looking at coming on that date because the dance group that I go to, Stomp Town, is performing at the halftime." And then the other girl in the group goes, "No way, I go to Stomp Town
That's
and I'm performing
so
at the halftime."
funny. Portland's so small.
It's so funny. Yeah. And at Stomp Town, I've run into some of my volleyball people.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
is really funny how like small the community is
And
once you
then,
start
yeah.
being a part of it.
Another small thing, my hairdresser goes, "I follow the D Dyke volleyball group that you're in, and I
Oh,
saw a picture
shut
with you in
up.
it."
That is so funny. I love it.
They're not in the volleyball group, but they happened to see the
Right.
social media post that I was in.
They're like, you do volleyball.
Yeah,
Play
it was
volleyball.
so funny. But anyways.
No, it sounds like you, I know that like we talked about this probably in the winter time where you were just like, I want to be making more friends. And it
Mhm.
really sounds like you've put yourself out there through like different groups and like
Yeah.
it sounds like you have been successful in like building connections with people.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I have any like deep connections yet. like I wouldn't say like our level of friendship has been found anywhere.
It usually isn't. I'm
I
just
know,
gonna
right?
tell you right now.
No, right. But at least I feel like I'm like connecting with some people, which connects you with more people, which
Yeah.
like gives you something in common to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, so that kind of helps. Um, I was gonna say that like for me, finding a friendship, I've found that I have to really like narrow down my where I'm putting my energy
Yeah.
and like only put energy into
Huge.
those things that are automatically like early connections. And not even necessarily connections, but just like for me, it's like if I talk to someone and the way that they talk makes sense and like it's on the same like understanding level, then I automatically like kind of click with them.
Yeah.
And I need to put energy into those instead of trying to
Yeah.
push things where I'm like trying to like translate how I'm talking to them and like it's work to talk to someone.
Yeah.
So
That makes a lot of sense. And I wonder if it's like um either masking versus unmasking, or like kind of like we've talked about on the podcast before, being on that neurodivergent mode of
wavelength,
communication
yeah.
where it's just like you don't really have to explain parts of who you are.
Yeah.
I can definitely relate to that in making friends. I think that most of the friends that I've made in the last couple of years are like fall into neurodivergent
Mhm. It does
categories.
happen to be.
Yeah,
It
we
does
find
happen
each
to be quite
other.
often, yeah.
And I've been really intentional about making queer friends
Mhm.
because I have some really long-lasting friendships in my life where my friends are just like heteronormative and are kind of doing like, the married, the kid thing. And it's something that I'm not doing. And so I think that's something that I wanted to say too during this episode is just how important it is to find friends that are in like the same path on the same path as you or ones that you can relate to. And I feel like being more intentional and making more queer friends has been really special to me. And those relationships are so important, just like my relationships with my heteronormative straight friends. Like I
Yeah.
love everyone. It's just that there are parts of me that like need that connection.
Yeah, you want to like relate to somebody similar
Yeah.
ways and
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think that a part of that has being whoa, how do I speak? A, a part of making queer friends has been being out and, presenting as queer, talking about being queer, talking about being neurodivergent. And I feel like that's how I've made friends at work. Like I know I made friends with you, Gabby, see, all of y'all are queer. And then at my new job, Catherine's queer. And so it's just like one of those things where, yeah, my most recent friendships have definitely been made through work, I think, more than anything.
Yeah. Um,
Huh.
the that was something I was going to talk about was like coming out as autistic in front of people, like whether you talk
Yeah.
about it or not, and when that point is.
It's a really weird conversation, and it's either like, I
Mhm.
guess it's either weird or it's easy.
Yeah.
But do you have a certain point where you like will slide it in?
I think
Hey.
I think now that I like honestly this is all feels so like new to me because it really like my whole life I feel like I've just been like throwing my energy out like to everyone and trying to see like where it's gonna get taken up and that's where I feel like I've stretched myself too thin and like not really so that's why I feel like now I'm like starting to understand more of like where to put my energy
Yeah.
and like how to channel that a little more. And I think that's also how I like decide whether I'm going to like say something or not. Like
Yeah.
I'm kind of halfway out about it at work. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people do know, and I'm not really like I'm not like hiding it in any way.
Sure.
So and a lot of times I will say like if I'm having a struggle, I'll say like, I'm autistic and I really need like this, boundary or this like clear communication or whatever it is. So that helps in being open. But I think with new people, a lot of
Hmm.
times it comes up when I feel like we're on that like same wavelength and we're
Yeah.
having good conversation. Um, and then I feel comfortable enough to be, open about that. Or I get the vibe from them that they may also be in
Right.
some way or another. And then I'll just kind of throw it in the conversation of like, oh yeah, like I know I'm autistic and I do this podcast or like I,
Right.
like
Kind of just slide it into the
yeah.
conversation, make it natural. Yeah,
Mhm.
I would say sometimes I make jokes about it, like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's my autism showing, or like, oh, that was so autistic of me, or gosh, my ADHD is flaring today. Like, I'll usually do like a self-deprecating joke,
As an opener.
but it
Yeah.
works. Probably as a form of masking, like as a form of just like protecting parts of me that are really vulnerable and like I don't know. I think I use humor a lot to
Mm,
share really vulnerable information, especially with friendships, especially with new friendships.
mm.
So
Yeah, that
that
makes
is
sense.
definitely one of my like tactics I
Protective
use.
things, yeah.
Yeah, and just like, hey, like I'm gonna say this like really vulnerable information, but it's like not that serious, but I'm sharing it with you, so it is
Yeah.
serious. I don't know. It's weird, but yeah.
I ran across this question that's kind of tangentially related, but it was someone posing the question, what do you think makes people start to mask?
Mm.
And there's some good responses, but I kind of want to hear your response first, and then I'll
Okay.
okay, go into theirs.
What makes people start to mask?
Yeah. Or like yourself, like what do you
I think that there are societal components, like things that ways that we've learned we need to act in order to survive the society. I think that personally, I will put on a mask when I feel uncomfortable with deeper emotions,
Mhm.
or like I feel uncomfortable with the person in front of me or the situation at hand. I definitely use it as protection though, and I've talked to my therapist quite a lot about that because for a while there, I was really passionate about unmasking in all areas of my life. And she was really quick to just be like, hey, masking, like you can try it out by all means, do your
Yeah.
life. And at the same time, like it is kind of this evolutionary tool that keeps people safe and it
Mhm.
keeps you protective against like ones that may not understand you or may not want to understand you. And I like have continued to mask at work. And yeah, I guess that's my answer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I actually answered the question.
You sure did. I think for me, it's a large part of like my early experiences, and I had a lot of negative early social experiences around things like thinking I was friends with someone and then them like backstabbing in some way or like leaving me to
Yeah.
be with a different group and like
Yeah.
being left out or not feeling understood, that kind of thing. So I think I, from an early age, learned that I needed to do something different to
Yeah.
fit in. Um, and I think some of that is where I like learned to like throw the energy everywhere is because I never was part of like one group because I felt like I had to just like be nice to everybody all the time and like try to figure it out and
Yeah.
yeah. And so I think that I learned that pretty early on.
Mm.
And some of the ones that I read about as far as other people's experiences uh, was a lot of people were talking about like early in their life, like their parental figures kind of shutting things down.
Mm.
I don't feel like I necessarily experienced too much of that, but I definitely know people who did where, they were told like, stop doing that or,
Yeah.
like you don't behave like that,
Right.
that
Stop
kind of thing.
stimming. Yeah.
Yep. Hide it, don't show that. And then also like gaslighting, like being told like, oh, like if I did get a little bit of this because I would say like I had headaches a lot because I have an allergy to getting cold into my
Right.
inner
To
ears.
like the literal
The
environment.
literal environment that I was ice skating in, yes. And so I would say I was getting headaches a lot, and I would be told like, no, you're not. You're just trying to get out of it. You're trying to do this. Like, so like
Hmm.
examples like that where you're like, oh, you're not actually feeling like whatever sensory stimulation it is. Like, so for some people, sound hurts. Some people
Yeah.
like the tastes are terrible for different things, or my skin itches and there's nothing there to show that it's itching,
Right.
that kind of thing, and
Yep.
being gaslit into that's not real. Like there's nothing on your skin, so you
Hmm.
shouldn't be itchy or like
Yep.
whatever that thing is. So a lot of people were talking about that. And then also this one was interesting to me, having high empathy being part of why you would mask because you're putting other people's experience and comfort and I don't know, like feeling, you know, together and not left out or that kind of thing over your own discomfort of not being yourself.
That is so interesting
Yeah.
and like kind of strikes a little bit of horror.
Yeah, I know. For me too. I mean, I was definitely like, oh yeah, like I am definitely high empathy, which is part of why originally I thought I couldn't be autistic
Right.
was because I was like, I don't lack empathy. Like I
Yeah.
care so much about so many things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of has like a people pleasing component of like
Mm-hmm.
making other people feel comfortable and like kind of putting your needs on the back end. But I wonder because it's a form of protection and it actually is showing up for yourself.
Hmm.
I don't know though. It kind of
Yeah.
depends on what you're looking at.
Yeah.
But there's so many crossover between like I feel like masking, people pleasing, um, controlling environments, like our OCD episode that we had. I just feel like I learned so much about like there are so many crossovers and it feels like there's so many similar experiences that we all
Yeah.
have. Um, but yeah, that makes sense. And also, I lost my train of thought. So sorry. Um, we were talking about it's gone.
Protective versus people pleasing, high empathy.
Yeah, can you say the high empathy thing again?
Yeah. Um,
Just because like I need to like think about it. I
yeah.
need to process it.
So yeah, they said that it was a form of masking because your empathy is so high because you care so much about the other people's experience and like them being comfortable and that and you put that over your own comfort in the
Yeah.
situation.
I think lately it's been less about making other people comfortable and more about understanding that people can't meet me where I'm at
Yeah.
emotionally a lot of the time. Um, and so that is where a lot of my current masking is coming from, being that
Mhm.
highly empathetic person that doesn't feel like I'm being seen or heard when I do disclose that kind of information.
Mm.
So I kind of like mask up and protect
Yeah,
myself.
that makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like opening some vulnerability and then realizing that that person is not ready for that.
Not
Mm,
ready.
not ready. Which I read something today that that really like hit me in regards to like relationships and stuff was a therapist saying on social media that you can only or someone can only meet you at the level they've met themselves.
Yeah.
There's
Yep.
a lot of people that don't know themselves, they don't want to do the work for
Mhm.
themselves, so they can't meet you where you're at. So, and
Yep.
you know, a lot of us neurodiverse people have done a lot of therapy.
A little bit of
So
intellectualizing, a little bit of understanding who the fuck we are.
we're trying to figure out why the fuck this is the way it
But
is.
I think that's why there is so much connection, friendship, relationship wise. I mean, it's just such a, it's, such, I think that's part of the wavelength. It's like
Yeah.
really being in tune with who you are. I think that there is such a common experience that I'm seeing on social media and in my friendships right now of like it's almost like we've learned to be this type of person and now we're at this point where we're like wait we don't need to be anymore. It's kind of like deconstructing
Hmm.
all of that.
Yeah, that all touches so perfectly on the next thing that I was going to talk about,
I love
which
doing that.
is another thing that I found from TikTok that someone was talking about autism as a third culture.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Third though, what does that mean?
So it's like instead of being like a primary or a secondary culture, so that would be like, you know, primaries like we're all
No,
Americans, and secondaries like, oh, we're Pacific Northwesterners or whatever.
I did not know that there were like tiers and hierarchies.
Yeah, I think
This
it's a very
is
vague
culture
concept.
anarchy.
Yeah, I love it. If you haven't listened to the episode on relationship anarchy, listen to Brooke's episode. Plugging ourselves. Um, so yeah, so they were talking about it as like a lot of there's a lot of other groups that are part of like a third culture, like being queer is being part of a third
I didn't
culture,
know that.
being
Yeah.
maybe like a marginalized group is a
Yep.
third culture.
Being a Swiftie is like a fifth culture.
And the people that were talking about it were also someone who was part of a military family, so they moved a lot. So
Yeah,
they were saying they were kind of part of a third culture too, when
totally.
they'd go into a new school and they'd be
Yep.
like, "Well, I'm not part of the primary culture at this
Mhm.
school. I'm like a third culture also." But it just brought up to me a lot of what you just said of like we have this culture that we connect on because
Mhm.
we're in these similar scenarios because we've been through a lot of the same struggles. Like there is a culture to neurodiverse individuals.
There
And
is.
I think we can kind of sense that
Yeah.
because we are so perceptive and understanding and like looking at what's going on in other people too. and feeling that like back and forth feeling.
Well, and to be very transparent, I think that the culture too is neurodiversity affirming,
Mhm.
autism culture, because I think that there's like micro environments in which still believing that like autism is this, I don't even know how to speak about it. It's just like, I don't know, but it like there are these environments where autism is seen as a limitation and something to be fixed.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's not really the culture that I'm talking about, and I don't think it's the one that you're talking about either.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that and like people that have like a base medical understanding of autism
Hmm.
is also not what I'm talking about. Because
Hmm.
like, you know, like you may talk to somebody who knows the definition of autism
Hmm.
or knows a person with autism or something, and they like can connect in some way of being like, oh yeah, autism. Like I'm
Right.
not unfamiliar, but it's not the culture. Like it's
Yeah,
not them being inside of that.
totally.
Yeah.
Well, and I would argue too that like there are the autistic individuals, and then there's also like the families of the autistic individuals that aren't autistic, whether it's the
Mhm.
moms or the siblings. And I feel like those are kind of microenvironments within the culture too, but I think it's like a separate, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the experience is a
Yeah.
separate, yeah, environment from
Hmm.
the home environment or other things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that
Cool.
very similar likening to like deaf culture. Because like
Yes.
again, like parents can be involved, but if they're hearing parents, they can't really be in the
Sure.
same deaf culture. So
Yeah, and
mhm.
like codas, I feel like
Mhm.
are of their own, which is child of deaf adults. And
Yeah.
so um they are all part of their own like micro community within the deaf community.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, that's a good
yeah.
parallel to what we're kind of talking about.
So true. So true, bestie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're talking friendship.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's like I don't know, there's rare chances going on just separate friendship because now I'm all like bad ones. There's like rare separate friendships that I still feel like there's not a lot of like these connections. Like I don't know. Like and a lot of people talk about that they never feel like they're the like primary friend. Like they never feel like they're
Yeah.
like the best friend or the
Yeah.
closest. And I've definitely had that experience where I feel like I'm part of groups a lot and I feel like
Yeah.
close with people, but then I don't feel like I know like what where I'm at in
Yep.
like the importance. And that's
Yep.
where I struggle like making friends from work, especially. Um, because this blew my mind, someone talking about it. I was like, this is exactly what I experienced, but I can't read social cues well enough to make the assumptions that neurotypical people make.
Hmm.
So an interesting example of that was like I walk into a lunchroom and everybody's sitting at their tables. I can't make the assumptions well enough to know if I'm close enough to somebody
Yep.
to just walk up and sit with them
Yep.
without an explicit
Yep.
invitation. Same thing with like moving from work to going to do something outside of work.
Hmm.
Like I don't know how to assume that I have a close enough relationship to ask to hang out or
Yep.
to um, text them randomly or like check in on them if they're feeling bad or like
Sure.
like I cannot read when I'm at those different levels.
Yeah.
And it makes it really hard to go from an acquaintance to something more.
Yeah.
And yeah.
No, that's a very autistic experience. And we'll talk about the socials curriculum, the circles thing that I work with my students in the next episode, but it's like, how do you navigate knowing where you're at with someone else? And like, how do you know that without explicitly asking? And like, you really have to tune into like those social cue skills, which I know is really hard for some autistic people. And I feel like I have very much masked myself and hyperfixated enough and spent majority of my life as a young person. Like I remember just really trying in middle school, really trying in high school, even trying in elementary school to fit in
Mhm.
and just figuring out ways to do it that like don't actually work, but I think that
Mhm.
I did feel successful in that as an adolescent in some ways. Um, but I have some of the same experiences that you've talked about too of like not being as close to someone that you thought you were. I feel like the best friend thing I resonate with hard because I remember in high school having a best friend that like I reflect back on and I was actually in love with her.
Oh,
Yeah. And so
yeah.
I think I conflate, I don't know if that's the
Completed,
word.
yeah.
Yeah. Conflate like romantic relationships with like that best friend relationship. But then I remember being with my ex and being like, oh my gosh, they're my best friend. And like
Mm.
we still have like romantic feelings as well. But like that's what I was kind of, how do I say this? Like I agree, I have never had a best friend that I'm like, oh, we're best friends. It's very hard for me to like work through that. And it was really easy with a romantic partner, I guess is what I'm
Mm.
trying to say.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to trust, to be honest. Like that's where some of my trust issues
Mm.
lay, is like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
like, wow, I haven't gone here in a long time. But like feeling like I am super close with people and then realizing like I'm not as close as I thought. It actually just happened over the summer with a close friend. And it's just like,
Yeah.
huh, interesting. This is where a lot of my autism is.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's painful. It's
Yeah.
really painful.
And I mean, it's complicated by RSD, by rejection sensitive
Yeah.
dysphoria, that
Yeah,
I have really strongly. And so, like,
sure.
I also can't tell the difference between, like, is this person rejecting me and doesn't want to be friends with me, or are they
Mhm.
just having a bad day? Or, which
Yeah.
sometimes I think is so complicated by therapy and by learning so much more because
Right?
I'm like processing all these different things of like it's
Yeah.
not about you, like they have their own life and they maybe be experiencing their own things. We don't know what's happening with them, and then that just like even worsens my like spiral of like, but what does it mean?
Totally.
Like,
And sometimes the role is just to feel like the discomfort and not like
mhm.
intellectualize everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But
But
I,
then I like don't know how to take it from there. I'm like, where do I go now? Do I
what?
keep putting energy into this, or was that
Yeah.
actually them being like, I don't really want to be friends with you, but I'm being nice, or like,
Yeah.
yeah. It's so hard.
It's so hard.
Sometimes it's hard being emotionally or like intelligent-ish. Yeah, I
Hmm.
wouldn't say like intelligent person, but like having
It's hard to be intelligent.
it's hard to be intelligent. But like having some emotional intelligence from doing therapy. Sometimes I'm like, God, can I just be stupid for a little bit? Like I would
I
rather just
agree.
like be dumb
It'd be
sometimes.
easier.
Easier.
It'd be easier. Actually, last month I looked at my therapist, like crying hard, and I was just like, I just like want to take the easy way out. And he was
Yeah.
like, McKenna, you're like not that person.
Yeah.
Like
It's not me.
you're going to be working through everything forever. And I'm like, God
Uh,
fucking damn it. I don't want to.
yeah, so it's super complicated by RSD and by, yeah, social cues, all those things. Make it really tough to find the next stage. But I think part of why we also connect
Yeah,
to other neurodiverse people is because of the directness too. Like
I
I feel
agree.
like
The honesty.
when you and I started hanging out,
Yeah.
it was very much like, do you want to go do this thing? And
Yeah,
like, yeah, I do.
I do. Let's go fucking do it.
Yeah. And we've never like hidden like if you need extra breaks or like today when you text me, we were like, I cannot stop at a coffee shop. Can you help me?
And she got me coffee.
I was already at a coffee shop, so it worked out perfect.
I have to say that the level of safety that I feel in our friendship has been
Oh.
unmatched. It really has been. I
Yeah.
really feel like I'm able to just be very honest with you with where I'm at. And like, I think that especially like working on this podcast with you, I just it's been a really healing friendship
No.
for sure. And just yeah, you're great. And I really do attest it to like a couple of things. Like obviously you're a great, wonderful, kind human. And we're also both you're like, tell me more.
Blush so easily.
And also like the neurodivergent streamline whatever we have going on. But I think that this year in particular, I have really been intentional about the concept of community and the concept of
Mhm.
leaning on safe people. And the only way to do that is to be honest. So finding safe people that I can do that with and lean on, like
Yeah.
the coffee or like last weekend I couldn't edit an episode in time, so we did a re-release, which was just like so kind to do. And like keeping my food at your house because I live in a tiny house and I shop at Costco like an idiot. So, yeah, but like things like that where it's just I know that I'm able to show up as I am with you, and I very much appreciate that. And
Yeah.
didn't expect to have a whole gush session, but here we are.
And I am not nearly as good with my words, but just know that McKenna is a talker of us, obviously. No. No, I feel the same. I feel very safe with our friendship and like I can tell you everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're my best friends.
Love.
So cute.
We're so awkward.
So awkward.
You're totally blushing. It's so cute. Oh my
I can't accept like compliments about myself at all. Like I'm feeling like sweating. Like I've gotten a lot better about not just being like brush it off, but I'm
dying. This is so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I immediately can't talk either. It's just like all my words are gone.
All of them are gone. Dysregulated.
Yes. Anyways, another thing that I really love about our friendship is I also feel like we really tolerate each other's ability, like and changes in ability level.
Totally.
One of the things that finding friends, especially other like ADHD friends, is knowing like sometimes that you know, like, tolerating that the other person may not be able to text back right away, or like may not have the capacity to hang out, or maybe cancel last minute, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the relationships that don't last as friends is because one person can't tolerate that about the other person. And we come from a place of like a lot more understanding when we've also been through that experience.
So true. And I think we're able to like not necessarily practice on each other, but like like I feel like I've been able to practice those skills with you and have it land super safely. You know what I mean? Of like, hey, I'm actually feeling really overstimulated this weekend. Can we like push the podcast next weekend? Or, hey, I'm feeling like I want to like connect with you one-on-one outside of the podcast. Like, can we get together and make some time for it? You know what I mean? Like, it's just very
real. Can we pivot this experience from this thing we were going to go out and do something in instead because I'm not feeling up to environments. Or,
Or we just finished a podcast and I feel so uncomfortable with how that went. We've got to pull it.
Just yank it.
That's happened twice.
But only twice in 6 months. So
that's pretty incredible.
We're at 6 months, guys. We've been podcasting for over 6 months.
That's wild.
We started in February. So
holy moly.
Our biggest goal is to make it to 1 year. So you've still got us for another 6 months. But
I'm gonna come up with content.
I know. For a while we had everything stacked like so, like we had so many ideas like coming out of our heads. And now I think we have like a few more. But need to get on my brainstorming hat.
Well, I think that what we'll do is like the book club. I think would be a really cool
about
section.
reading books a lot, and then bringing more friends on.
We have so many friends.
So many friends to bring on. I don't think we'll ever get Lauren. She's very camera shy, so
I still love her.
She's a good listener. So
I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like there's a few more things we could talk about, but I think let's wrap up and
we'll talk about it next
on the next one. Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for being my friend.
Love it.
It's so powerful.
Rolls out of camera.
I love it so much. Be unapologetically you.
Find your joy.
And make your friends blush. Weird. Be friends.
Right. Love you guys.
Bye. Thanks for joining us this week. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Music.
Please like, subscribe, and leave us a review. We could use some of those. If you want to get pictures that go along with our episodes and follow along, join us on Instagram and TikTok.
Thanks Hotties. Bloopity bloop bloop. Bloopers. Good plan. First, second part, second.
Excellent.
Great to go in like chronological order.
But the way it makes sense. What? Oh goodness, okay.
Oh goodness, okay is like the rhetoric of the morning of the life. Oh goodness, okay.
Did you see my post about my Friday morning?
No, I missed it.
I I posted a story because I dropped my entire Costco size yogurt container on the ground like first thing in the morning and it exploded.
Oh my
I
God.
literally like turned and like hit the edge of the fridge and just
It just like all over the ground. Oh my
I was really
God.
thinking probably on like a serving actually like fell out, so I was able to like scoop it up and like, put it in a container.
You saved it
I
from the
saved
floor?
well everything was in the container because it was like the bottom like popped out. So like,
Okay.
still like over three-quarters of
Okay.
it in the container.
It's like, oh my God, you're just like scooping up yogurt.
No, and then I tried to get Jules to come help me clean it up, and she got like half of it, but she's afraid of getting too close to appliances. And so she was like, and then she'd like run away, and then she'd run away. So then I ended up having to clean it up. And then as I was cleaning it up, I shut my finger in the fridge like super hard.
Ouch. Doesn't that like feel so, it just feels mean.
Yeah, and then it like
Burst.
I was like, seriously, it's Friday. Give me a
Yeah.
break. Luckily, my kids were all good. Like there was nothing at work that was drama, so I was like,
Honestly, like the silly drama is preferred.
yeah, that was ridiculous. But
Jeez Louise, what a funny way to start your weekend.
yeah, yeah. So that was such a blast.
Such a
I called it. I put on there. The comment was ADHD tax, and I lost half of my Costco container.
It happens. That's so annoying.
Uh, I kind of wish this whole time I'd been saving our little like noises that we make for the sounds, and
I
then
know.
sometime we could just compile them to be like
I
the
know.
sounds that we make for the song.
That's our theme song. Every time.
I love it. Okay.